Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Welcome to Dat Wrasslin Podcast. Sheepshifter 23 here with Streetkilln HD. Soulamazin recently quit the podcast, so we're replacing him with Broken Dole. So he'll be here shortly. No Soulamazin, unfortunately. Oh, wait, here's Soul. What's up, Soul?
Wow, sheep. Wow, sheep.
Wow, sheep.
So yeah, actually, Soul's not quitting.
Everyone knew you were joking because there is no replacement for.
I don't know. We could have. All he had to do is just change his name to Dole Amazing, and it would have worked perfectly.
It could have been amazing.
Yeah, it'd been Soul 2.0. Yeah, we're 7 minutes late because Ben got kicked out. We were trying to get him back in, and then he quit again. So that's how Ben is. He's quitting on us.
He's the Brock Lesnar of DWP. He shows up what he wants to.
Yep.
Right?
That's Benjamin Rivers for you. So we're gonna go through Raw and SmackDown. We'll leave NXT out of this one tonight because we're gonna go over Super Showdown. I'm assuming everybody watched it, right? Soul?
Yeah, I revolved my entire day around it.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah,
it seems like a disappointment,
that speaks for itself.
And you must have regretted that decision, huh?
let me tell you guys a quick story, okay, about how my day went. I literally, when I woke up, I have a Google Chromecast that I set up on my TV. Got it ready. I ordered my pizza ahead of time and everything. I was ready, bro.
He was ready.
I had my stuff set up, ready to go. Everything, picture perfect. At 2 o'clock on the dot, literally my internet goes out.
Ooh.
Oh, that's not a good start.
It took an entire hour. My girlfriend had to do something for her brother, so she ended up going by Comcast and getting a new coax splitter. So we replaced the splitter, and then it started working, but it didn't work until 3 o'clock, so I missed the first hour. And then I tried to go outside and watch it. I get no data service in my house at all. Whatever this roof is made out of, there's no service on your phone in here at all. So I'll go outside and stand in the yard to try to watch the show, and then it starts pouring the rain. So that I couldn't even do that. So I'm just like, oh my god, like, everything was going so bad.
It's the worst.
But that's how it went for me. And then once it finally came on, it was
Super Showdown.
Just like,
you went through all of that for that. Like I would have been raging. That's fucking nuts.
Everything was going wrong. It was like it was really only like a bad hour, but that hour felt like
really bad.
It felt like the whole day.
That really sucks. It's like you go through all this trouble to watch the show, and it's just like you find out the show is just like, shit, there goes my life. Oh, I missed an hour. I missed an hour of the show too, but only because I woke up late.
Alright, so
you do that every pay-per-view.
We'll jump into Raw real quick. Not really a whole lot because everything was like leading to Super Showdown, so a lot of promos, a lot of build-up, a lot of stuff. Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon kicked things off, and I already knew that I was going to be like, Shane McMahon's promos against Roman Reigns have been terrible. The whole thing mostly has been terrible. Shane McMahon and Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre and all this, it's stupid. It's just bad. And then the match that it led into was Roman Reigns and the Usos versus Drew McIntyre and the Revival. And it was an okay match, but...
This was, what, 45 minutes to an hour or so? I would say it was at least a good 45 minutes between the start of the show until all the names you just said were off the screen.
Yeah.
But between the promo and the tag team match itself was about 45 minutes at least, up to an hour.
Yeah.
So that's a 30-year show just for this one segment and match. For this one group of people. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that in itself.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
is kind of sad. The promo was way too long. I think the problem with Shane McMahon is he already stole everyone's hearts as a babyface. He was so good at it. The crowd was going nuts for him every week.
Let's just admit here
he's never, but Shane's never, he's never really been like a tough guy. Like, I don't like the tough, quote unquote tough guy Shane McMahon persona. You know, you remember back in the day when he was younger, he had the Mean Street Posse. He always had, you know, people doing his deeds for him, always weaseled his way into stuff. And he had the high-flying moments and stuff, too, but he's not a big, strong, tough guy. Oh, let's go, Roman. Ooh. Like, I don't know. I just don't... It just doesn't click with me. Like, I just don't like it, personally.
I agree.
No, yeah, I agree as well. It doesn't fit him to fight Roman. It's like, oh, okay, well, we have... not just to mention that, okay, I understand Drew McIntyre is, you know, doing the dirty work too, but he has a Revival and fucking Elias, like mid-card, low-card people doing, beating the shit out of, fucking, it's like, how are they beating the shit out of Roman? It's like, yeah, Braun Strowman pushing down people left and right,
and
let's
not
like all those
forget
mid-carders.
It wasn't that long ago that Roman Reigns defeated the Revival in a handicap match. It was like late last year, remember? So, like, how are they just beating the crap out of him now? Like,
well, I mean, while that's ridiculous, you know, what happened later, and we'll get into that, was even more so. I was like, holy shit. But like, I don't want to rush too far ahead into that. And I'm going to skip forward quite a bit here on Raw, because after that match, it was a whole bunch of really nothing. There was the Charlotte and Lacey Evans match, and, you know, it had a little bit of a good part where Becky came in and got some revenge, but other than that, it was meh.
Well, there was multiple botches from Lacey Evans in that match, and I really expected it to be better than it was, so I was pretty disappointed.
Yeah, that was my takeaway too.
To me, like Charlotte Flair, in my opinion, has the total package. She has a good gimmick, and she's great in the ring. Lacey Evans, on the other hand, is a decent gimmick. It's at least something new, but I don't think she's that good in the ring. She's not. She's just not really a good match for Charlotte in the ring, I don't think.
She's not ready. She's not ready. She should be wrestling, you know, Mandy Rose and...
I think she's someone that they push too fast. And even though you could argue that, well, for the first 6 weeks or so, they just had her walk to the ring and walk back.
That's so more than they did with people that have been on Raw and SmackDown for a year or more. Yeah. That's more than they've done with Naomi. Yeah. That's a hell of a push. That's TV time every fucking night. It was pretty bad. So
people are complaining that they had no chemistry in the ring, and it was like really bad. I mean, I think they're meant to fight as a team. I would see that other than fighting against each other.
Like, they should have Lacey Evans like puppy dog following Charlotte. Like, Charlotte's like bringing her up to be the next her or whatever, you know what I mean? And then for the longest, you know, it's like almost like the Miz and Mizdow, remember?
Yeah, I remember
that. It could be similar to that, you know. She's taking her under her wing, but at the same time, she's like really ruthless and a bitch, and, you know, just abusing all of this, you know, quote unquote friendship. I mean, they could do that, and that would have been at least involving, you know, instead of just a match for a match's sake. Becky had a lot more chemistry with Lacey than Charlotte did, but I don't know if that's because Charlotte and Lacey are so similar in like build and stuff that it's almost like watching I hate to, I keep jumping ahead, but it's almost like watching, you know, Triple H versus Randy Orton. You know, the one good person can only carry the one who's not pulling their weight so far before it gets boring.
Yeah, I got you.
That's true. I understand that. That could be the reason why.
Yeah. So, the next major, or, you know, interesting thing that happened, you had Rey Mysterio come out to relinquish his United States Championship. I thought it would go, well, I guess I shouldn't say I thought it would go just regular and plain with no problems, but Samoa Joe came out and pretty much, you know, demanded that he give him the title and stuff like that. And Rey Mysterio did, but he put it on the ground in front of Rey Mysterio instead of handing it to him, and I assume Samoa Joe took that as a slight. So Samoa Joe put the coquina clutch on Rey Mysterio and laid him out in the ring. And I actually thought, as far as promos and segments go, that this wasn't half bad. I really
I don't know. I kind of found it awkward.
Really?
At times, there was like the word between them two. It's like
the only part I didn't like is
the
Dominic part.
Also, when he put down the title,
he couldn't. Yeah, he didn't put it down right. He couldn't get it. He had to like straighten it out. He couldn't get it down right. It was kind of funny.
Like, okay. So then he backs away, and then he like, there's just like there was a pause, and then he said, "Oh, you can take it."
Yeah, I guess that was kind of awkward. The only thing I really don't agree with is the Dominic angle. Like, I've said it before and I'll say it again. That kid's not ready for an NXT ring, let alone a WWE ring. He doesn't look, I mean, he doesn't look like a wrestler. He's not built like a wrestler. He can do some, I mean, unless that dude can do 450s and fucking moonsaults off the top rope and shit like that, I don't see what that kid can do that's going to impress me. Like, maybe he's got something that I just can't see. Maybe he's super talented and can run circles around anybody else in the ring. But from the looks of him, I'm just like, nah. No, I agree. I agree as well. Just from the looks, he doesn't look like it. I could be very wrong. Like, I hate to, you know, judge a book by its cover, but just my gut tells me that if they push him into WWE right now, or within the next year, it's going to be awful. Just awful. I don't want that. I want it to be amazing and great and awesome. But I've just got this bad feeling that if they put that kid in the ring, I always
think this is how I watch the WWE now. I expect every week to be worse than the last. And then when the slightest decent thing happens, you're
happy
for joy.
Yeah. Expect hope for the best, expect the worst kind of mentality.
Exactly.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Especially when you only get like 40 minutes of wrestling now.
Well, like I told you guys last, SmackDown Live had 19 minutes of actual wrestling on a 2-hour show last week. 19 minutes of wrestling.
An hour and a half of promo videos.
Incredible.
That's an hour and 41 minutes of promos and garbage and bullshit. I'm only going to cover this next part.
I mean, most of it, honestly, it seemed like most of it was not even actual filmed live promos, but video packages.
Yeah, it was.
I feel like video packages was the majority of the show.
And I just want to point out that I hate the new video packages where they're basically doing a selfie. It gets on... It's fucking stupid. Like, you guys have $1 million...
They're trying to modernize it.
Yeah. Modern is using top-of-the-line camera technology to do amazing things with cameras. Not have them hold a fucking iPhone. No,
they're trying to modernize between kids these days on how they... Trying to basically keep up to.
I know what they're trying to do, but it fails. It does not work. It's like shaky cam promos.
They're trying to relate.
I get it. I completely get it, but they fail in every aspect. They are not good promos.
Hey, I'm happy they stopped with that big ass tech shit, that fucking tech shit.
Yeah,
that they did before.
They didn't stop with that.
Oh.
Yeah, it's on the. Yeah, they're still doing that.
It's limited.
Not as
it's
much.
Limited
it's
now,
yeah.
but
it's not as much.
It used to be really bad. Like every
Yeah.
promo would be like that.
Yeah, these cell phone promos are
now it just like
crazy.
says the person's name, and then just has them talking.
Yeah.
Pretty soon they're gonna be doing those tag bubble things. You know how in some vlogs you see them pop up tags above their names of everybody that's inside the video, and they're gonna be doing that soon. Oh shit.
Now I'm only gonna cover this next part because it was just fucking stupid. And that was the arm wrestling match between Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley. I probably would have walked out of it thinking, okay, if they just would have went up to the thing, arm wrestled, and left. But they made it this big fucking stupid thing, and then it's... Now, what really would have sold it for me, if they would have pulled an over the top. Have one of them wear a hat, and then they're struggling, and they reach up and they turn the hat backwards, and it's over the top. Bam! Slam it. Bring back that classic Stallone. I don't know if any of you guys have seen Over the Top.
I'm with you.
Amazing movie. The best arm wrestling movie ever made.
But my issue is like, it wasn't even a real arm wrestling match.
No, obviously. I mean, it's just like real wrestling matches. Why
can't you just have them do a real arm wrestling match? Why do you have to fake it?
Well, I mean, if they could have faked it good, then you wouldn't have been able to tell. You know what I mean?
But they faked it terribly.
Exactly.
I mean, Braun Strowman obviously used his body weight to quote unquote win.
Yeah.
So it's like, no shit, he won. Like,
against arm wrestling rules.
Yeah, true.
Like, it's stupid.
But yeah, that was the worst. And then Bobby Lashley attacks after Strowman wins, and it was just stupid.
But like, why did this happen? Because you want the whole idea behind Bobby Lashley. The reason he exists in the company is you want to convince people that he's ridiculously strong, right? Like, that's the point of Bobby Lashley. He's freakish. He's a freak of nature. He's super strong. So you have him lose an arm wrestling contest and then get pissy
now.
And then get pissy about it, and like, it just does. It just the fact that he lost the arm wrestling match and then he threw a fit over it. They just demoralize him.
You know what I think they should do now?
Way, shape, and form. Like,
now that Bobby Lashley has been beaten in arm wrestling by Braun Strowman, they should have Cesaro arm wrestle Braun Strowman and win.
Yeah, they should.
That would be I think that would actually be. I mean, as silly as it sounds, you know, everybody calls Cesaro the Swiss Superman. That he has amazing strength for his size. He's one of the strongest men pound for pound in the WWE. Just think how incredible it would look if, you know, he beat Braun Strowman, who beat Bobby Lashley in an arm wrestling match. You know, that would be a good way to push Cesaro, I think. And I think Cesaro deserves a push at some point. I don't know about the main card.
I think that he needs a face turn. I think he should have turned face once he went solo.
Yeah.
When Sheamus was out of the picture, he needs to turn. He needs face. There's a lot of people in the WWE right now that need to turn from what they're currently doing.
Yeah, a lot of heels need to be faces. A lot of faces need to be heels.
Yeah. I'm talking. Yeah, that's what I mean.
You are.
Talking faces.
I agree with you guys as well. I agree.
Spot on. I mean, there's some that are doing well in the roles that they're given. You know, Kofi and Becky, and a few other obvious ones. You know, Baron Corbin is a heel. Alexa Bliss, you know, is whatever.
There's also some that just aren't good at either one.
Also true, like Natalya,
like Bobby Lashley.
Like Bobby Lashley. Yes.
What if Bobby Lashley should just, like, I don't know what they're doing with him. He's, like, confused half the time. He's the most confused person ever in the company. Like, you look at him when he, like, just look at him. Just stare at him. He's, like, he looks fucking confused, like, lost in space. He's like,
it's only a matter of time before he's back on Impact.
Okay, so he's the type of guy, that would just take the script and go out there and do it. And then just be like,
yeah,
okay,
be like, what did I just do?
Now? He's like, oh, okay.
Like he just regrets it instantly after every.
I could see him as the type of guy that would just take it and then just read it and then go out there and say it and then be like, oh, okay.
And he's like, what? Well, looking around like, why are they booing? What did I even just say? Did I say something wrong? Am I not a face? I thought people loved me. Nah, I'm playing. Actually, I like Bobby Lashley, but I liked him a lot more his first time around in the company. Now, like I said before, I think I had a pretty golden rant about Bobby Lashley a few podcasts ago.
He should be unstoppable. Yes, he should come back as an unstoppable force. But from the beginning, he was being beat.
No, I'm talking about when I was talking about
the first time he was
Bobby
in WWE.
Lashley needs to be the Brock Lesnar in AEW.
Yeah. I mean, that could work.
I think that's the best role for him in professional wrestling today, is to go to AEW and be their Brock Lesnar type of gimmick, the big strong guy that everyone's scared of, the Beast. I think that's the only thing. I think that's the only good gimmick that I can even think of for Bobby Lashley. But there's no place for it in the WWE because Brock Lesnar already has it.
Yep, true. So, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. I'm kind of starting to dig it. I was super against it at first. I was like, this is stupid. This is garbage. But I can see, like, some weird, like, cool storylines that would actually maybe be entertaining or at least interesting compared to everything else that we get. I'm not saying it's going to be, you know, stuff that we'll remember 10 years from now, but it's got to be better than fucking arm wrestling matches and 2.5 hours of promos, or, you know, an hour.
They remind me of like two sisters that are completely different.
Yeah.
But are sisters at the end of the day. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. Like, one's dark and crazy, and the other one's like the cocky, girly girl. But they work together well as sisters, as family. That's the way it comes off to me.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of interested in where this goes. I mean, you know where it goes with Alexa Bliss, you know, betraying Nikki Cross. But I kind of want to see. I kind of want to know what's going to happen.
Well, that's fine because that could potentially mean it could lead up to Nikki Cross taking the title from her out of revenge.
Maybe.
They need to just. I'm just seeing. Knight said, "Watch Nikki and Alexa win the women's tag team championships." I don't know. At this point, I feel like they need to just get rid of the women's tag team championships. They're completely irrelevant, in my opinion. And why do the Iconics still have them? Why? And they're gonna start just throwing two random women together just so they have somebody to compete at pay-per-views for the titles. Like, why? There's gonna be so many cringy teams that make no sense.
Yeah.
They're just forcing teams together. The Iconics make sense. They're a good women's tag team.
Well, I mean, according to WWE, they're not.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get you.
Well, look,
Sasha and Bailey was a good women's tag team. They made sense.
They canceled the Evolution pay-per-view. So, what the fuck?
Did they really?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
They did.
Well, I mean, how long did you guys seriously think that was going to last? I mean, we can't honestly think it was gonna last.
There was a thing I read. I read on article about how Vince wants to be that person that, you know, basically does the first thing, the first time ever type thing. He wants to be that person to shoot the gun and go for it first before anybody else does. AKA wants to be the guy that does everything before other wrestling companies does. But the thing is, even if TNA or whatever did that, who the hell, like, there's not going to be a lot of people that know about it, okay? WWE's more, you know, what you want to call it, popular. So it's like, yeah, I understand the reason why he wants to jump the gun and go for those first ever things and be the one that, you know, oh, I did it first. But if you're gonna do something, the whole reason for Evolution was based off their pushing women's rights and all that shit.
No, it was to get their first evers out of the way. To say that they did it and now they're done. They can wipe their hands of it and they don't have to do it no more.
It's what they wanted it to be since they were starting this whole women's thing. And now you're just gonna cancel it, which makes them look bad now since they canceled it. Because they're like, oh, now they're not gonna have a all women's pay-per-view. What the fuck is up with Vince? He's sexist. No, he did that on himself.
No, I disagree because I don't feel like the Evolution pay-per-view needed to be something that was annual. I feel like it was the first ever all-women's pay-per-view. It was. I think it was fine to have it just one time and be done with it. I think that's what it should have been, honestly. They can't even. You can't even have a good women's match every week. How are you gonna have a whole pay-per-view?
I agree. I agree with that.
I mean, I said that wrong. You can't. They can barely pull off one good women's match per pay-per-view, one match a month, let alone a whole entire pay-per-view.
Sheep over here playing a game.
Like honestly,
hear it.
Like
no, I just got really loud keyboard clicky keys.
I'm not saying that I am or not. I just want to ask. Are you guys, on a scale of 1 to 10, how interested are you in Bayley versus Alexa Bliss at Stomping Grounds? 1 to 10.
Right now, because there hasn't been any storyline build up to it.
Regardless
like
of storylines, think back just on who they are and what you've seen from them in the ring in the past.
Potential wise, I would say 7 out of 10. With no build up and no preparation, I would say 5, just because I'm so unsure. Because if it's bad story and no real build up to it, then I'm gonna be disappointed, even if it's a good match, because there was no reason for it. So I mean, at best, I would probably say a 7 out of 10. Like, if they were on point with a good, solid storyline and booking, and they had a great match.
I have to agree with Sheep.
Yeah.
I actually agree with Sheep, too.
I mean, I don't think they're... Either one of those are 5-star match performers. But, I mean, that's not to say that they never could. But right now, I just don't see that in the cards for them. There's very few 5-star performers, you know, right now. There's a lot of supposedly 5-star performers who lately have been putting on 3 stars at best. So, I mean, I don't really know how you got people who are considered, you know, nobodies coming in and throwing down, you know, classics, instant classics and shit. So, I mean, I guess it is kind of weird in that regard.
I do like a general question. I wasn't trying to lead into anything.
Oh, it's fine. One thing I do want to say is that I do like the trick that Alexa Bliss has, and they haven't used it in a while, where she dislocates her elbow. I mean, that's
really ruined the chances of doing that against Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, that's when they definitely should have done it.
But no, they never listen to us. We're trying to save Vince McMahon over here, and he just He doesn't care.
Vince McMahon doesn't listen to anybody. You think he'll listen to us? A couple of smart pants over here.
Smartest pants. So speaking of Brock Lesnar, this is the end of, well, almost the end of Raw. There was what? Oh, there was actually a lot more. Never mind.
Was it really though?
Well, Lesnar showed up to quote unquote cash in, and just attacked him with a chair, and then said Friday to Paul Heyman. And as soon as that happened, I knew that he wasn't going to cash in successfully at Showdown. Because once they start this trend of putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, they're going to keep doing it until a big pay-per-view. It's not going to be Stomping Grounds. It's what's the next big one? SummerSlam?
I think so.
Maybe SummerSlam.
Let's look it up. WWE pay-per-views.
I think it is SummerSlam.
Don't think, okay? Don't thunk. Don't thunk it.
Well, I mean, we've only got 2 more months of summer left, so it's got to be SummerSlam.
It's Extreme
July.
Rules. Extreme Rules. It's Extreme Rules.
Extreme Rules.
And then SummerSlam.
So Stomping Grounds, Extreme Rules.
11.
It won't be at
August
Extreme
11. Rules
either. It's going to be at one of the big 4. So you're pretty much limited to SummerSlam or Royal Rumble.
I say SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Well, Survivor Series too. It's a big one.
But does he succeed in cashing in? Because they're kind of making it look like he might not.
Well, here's the thing.
Succeed.
How long do they want either Seth Rollins holding the title, or how long do they want, Brock Lesnar holding the title? Because if if they have him wait too long and he cashes in, like, it's gonna be a month later where it's gonna be Money in the Bank again. And who's that person gonna be? Yeah, and then who's that person gonna be?
I don't know.
That wins the Money in the Bank.
Half these people might not even be in the WWE anymore by Money in the Bank.
He's got a point. That could be true. There's a lot of people frustrated right now.
Oh, they're so frustrated.
So after that, we
got another Saudi Arabia show coming up in November too. So get ready for that.
For what?
They always do 2. They have 2
really?
every year. Yeah, it's what they signed up for. For what, 10 years? 2 shows for every year?
For some reason I don't recall this.
Well, pay attention, boy. Jeez.
Maybe after Friday I don't want to remember.
I agree.
So they got Ricochet versus Cesaro having a rubber match, the third one, to see who was going to come out on top. And Ricochet was the one standing tall at the end, and then Cesaro attacked him, so we're going past 3 matches now. Starting to feel an awful lot.
We're going into the burned rubber now.
We're going into the best of 7 type thing now.
The Indian finals.
If they repeat the exact same storyline that they used to get Cesaro and Sheamus together, I might just stop watching WWE. I mean, seriously. If they recycle something that they did within 2 years ago and use that as the exact same setup,
you gotta ask your question.
I know, but that's just too much. The same person, the same storyline, just doing it again, I will fucking quit. I will quit watching Raw and SmackDown, and I'll just watch NXT and whatever AEW decides to put up. But we had the Undertaker come back, and from the promo, you would have thought this was going to be the the best match ever.
Oh, you mean the promo he got cut off? He didn't get to say his own line.
I was about to say that. I was like, when I was watching it,
he didn't even get to say his catchphrase.
Like his last word didn't even finish, and it just cut. Like I was kind of like doing something else while I was listening, and like I was like, what happened? Like I thought my internet went out or something. I looked over, and I'm like, it had the little thing on the bottom of the screen, like the whenever the show ends, and it was just blank, and I was like, what the. Like, I thought it just cut him off like that.
Oh, I must admit, I thought at the end all he said was "you're next."
No, he was supposed to say more than that. If you're watching it on WWE.com, it's gonna show it fully, or the network, it's gonna show it fully.
Yeah, I thought that the last thing he said is if you don't bring like everything, it's gonna be our first match is gonna be your last match, and then Goldberg, you're next. And then I thought, because of SmackDown the next week, you know, where Goldberg said, rest in peace, I thought that that was the whole thing, that, you know, they just traded catchphrases.
Well, they had to they have Goldberg say that, and they cut him off saying, it was like, oh, might as well have Goldberg say it.
True that.
I just find it ironic that Undertaker said he don't want the family man Goldberg. He wants the tough Goldberg. like 30 seconds into the match, this guy gives himself a concussion. It's like, okay, buddy.
The family Goldberg.
You want the family man at home, right? Okay. Yeah, right. Hey,
the family man at home right now is concussed on his bed. He's saying, why did I have to bring the
outside playing with the kids
Goldberg
today?
out? I should have just brought the family man Goldberg out instead. He would have hit his head.
Maybe that was just to show how hardcore he was. Like, I'll run my head into the post. I don't give a fuck. This is tough Goldberg.
let's just not forget he was already bleeding. He was already bleeding before he got out.
Break Undertaker's neck.
He was already bleeding before he got in the ring.
Let's not talk about his botched jackhammer. That was after the botched tombstone, okay? And that botched tombstone, I thought Goldberg died.
I thought they both. I literally thought they killed each other. Like, no shit. Like I thought they each died individually.
Like I was scared that Goldberg wasn't gonna get up.
I was on the edge of my couch for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I was watching for signs of serious injury. I was too. I was like, I'm sitting there like biting my nails and shit. I swear to God, I was like cringing.
Me too.
Like,
oh
my God,
like,
I was. It was so horrible that, and I know we're jumping ahead, but that's gonna be like a recurring theme because that's all that we can think about probably right now. This, oh my God, that tombstone and that jackhammer.
At first, I thought we were watching this Combat Zone Wrestling. I'm like, oh shit, is this Combat Zone Wrestling? They really hurt each other over here. Shit, someone's gonna die. Oh man.
Man. So let's go into SmackDown before we get on to Super Showdown. Like I said, 19 minutes of wrestling. So I mean, what can we really cover? There was the Lumberjack 24/7 R-Truth versus Elias. That was kind of funny, but it's anything R-Truth is in usually does well, in my opinion. There was Carmella versus Charlotte versus Alexa, and Alexa won to become the #1 contender, as we well know. A Lars promo. And
3 blind mice. Watch them run.
Why would you even mention this?
That's all I was going to mention about it. A Lars promo, and that's it.
Lars Sullivan no longer exists to me. I'm done with him.
We had Andrade versus Apollo Crews, if you could call that a match.
This is the perfect time. I have a perfect timing. situation. In the words of Sheepshifter, send his ass back to NXT.
Oh, there it is.
Where he was actually decent.
Doing my job for me. I don't even have to now. So
he should have never opened his mouth. He should have never spoke. It's over now. He's done.
3 blind mice. What? How did he say? Like, he had like a raspy ass voice.
It's like his like awkward mice. I see it's like his awkward facial hair and mouth shape and spit flying and him saying 3 blind mice. Like, I'm done. No.
What is life when you watch wrestling these days?
All that shit he was saying about, he's like, does a lot.
Like busting them open, putting like bodily fluids. I'm like, whoa. No one wants to hear about your fucking fantasies over here.
When he was going on about the lions and what lions. I can't even talk.
This guy has some weird ass fetish fantasies going on. He needs to get out.
This guy's like
you
watching
know
bestiality
Vince
videos
wrote
or
that.
some shit.
You
like,
know
what's he
Vince wrote
about?
that.
Oh yeah.
You know that. It's like, how do you talk about bodily fluids? Talk.
This was on some kind of medication right in that shit.
I
gotta go back and watch it now.
I
have to go back and watch it again. I have to now, so I can remember it word for word.
Oh god.
What is? All right.
Alright,
move on.
So yeah, we basically had the Goldberg promo, which was just an opposite of the Undertaker promo. And that was all of SmackDown. 19 minutes of fucking wrestling on a 2-hour show. Wonderful.
Oh, wow.
Wait,
Love it.
Did we cover the first match?
What match was that?
The minute of it.
Yeah.
What's
The other one was the R-Truth thing, and then there was the
there was this
Apollo Crews and Andrade.
So it doesn't. Okay, so there's been 19 minutes of wrestling. That doesn't mean we're gonna cover 19 minutes of it. It means we're gonna cover like 3 minutes off of the 19.
Wasn't there a match with Kofi and somebody? I can't remember.
No.
So you don't even remember because it was only 19 minutes of wrestling.
It was Kevin and Sammy versus Kofi and Xavier, I think. Right?
I don't even know.
In the beginning of the show.
I don't remember. You remember? Because I don't.
It was
I
basically
didn't close the thing, so I'm not going back to it. Was it good or worth talking
the same
about?
Thing they did on Raw with the tag team match on Raw.
Yeah, with Roman and the Usos and the Revival and Shane.
Yeah,
kind of a similar deal.
It's nothing good.
Kofi and Dolph and all them.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Here we go, guys. Super Showdown.
Thought it'd be quick.
Super slow down.
Usos defeated the Revival in basically a house show match on the kickoff show. One thing that really surprised me was the fact that the Universal Championship match was first. I thought this was actually kind of cool. I was like, but, you know, you're gonna...
Didn't they do that last pay-per-view as well? Have one of the main titles first?
It was one recent. I don't think it was the very last pay-per-view, but it was recent. I do remember that.
Yeah.
So, Baron Corbin actually looked pretty good here. I mean, even though he's, you know, going after taped ribs and shit like that, I thought it was a pretty good performance. I mean, we knew he wasn't going to win there, but it was pretty solid. And then we got one thing that's been bugging me lately is that almost every finish, there's at least one finish per show that's because of a distraction. referee distraction followed by a roll-up pin, or something to that extent, or in those lines. And they're really starting to overdo this distraction and pinfall thing. And we had 2 of these in the same segment. First, Baron Corbin gets distracted by the referee starting to go off on him and pushing him, and then Seth Rollins gets the roll-up pin. And then Brock Lesnar comes out, and we get Paul Heyman tripping, creating another distraction with the referee where Seth Rollins low blows Brock Lesnar. One thing I did agree with was if you're going to put it off, you might as well keep putting it off and make it interesting. And this time was actually kind of cool. I liked that Seth Rollins got his revenge, that Brock Lesnar didn't fail to cash in, didn't lose the cash in and fell, but he failed to cash in.
He fell when he cashed in.
He didn't lose the contract, in other words. So I thought that was a good decision, and I was actually happy with pretty much everything that happened in that match. Or the results of it. I thought that Seth going nuts with the chair was pretty good. Brock Lesnar took a pretty real looking shot to his arm, and I thought for a second Seth might be in trouble backstage.
No, well, Vince McMahon was pretty upset with Brock Lesnar with the chair on Raw, because he went too fucking savage on him and busted open his back, and they didn't want him to get injured. So that's why he was kind of pissed. So I think maybe that little shot right there was Vince giving him the okay for that.
I don't think that's the case. It looked accidental.
That would be awful on Vince McMahon's part for many reasons.
Yeah, I'm gonna physically punish you.
You act like that's one little awful thing he ever done in his entire life, bruh. The entire company is an awful thing at the moment.
No, my point is that
never mind one little thing.
It would be bad PR. Is what he said.
It would be bad. It would be bad for Seth Rollins, because you know what Brock Lesnar is capable of if he wants to get his revenge.
In real life,
He'll fuck him up.
Here's the thing.
Seth, I'm gonna give you permission to just beat the shit out of Brock Lesnar, and Seth's like, no.
I'm not saying that Vince told him to go out there and beat the shit out of him for real.
He was not Braun Strowman the fuck out.
It's not like that.
I'm talking about the chair. I'm talking about the chair thing.
I get you, but he's not gonna intentionally.
He's not the chair to hit him.
Just using it, period.
Yes. See, you guys never understand.
I thought you were saying. I'm saying the shot itself was I agree with that. Sure, fine. That's fine. You're gonna get you went too far with the chair, so now he's gonna hit you with a chair. But I thought what you were saying. You need to clarify. You need to clarify before you state something.
I know that is my issue with trying to explain something.
Yeah, you need to be like.
I understand that.
I get that. The shot was probably accidental, but I think Vince, told him he could use a chair because of that, and then I would have understood.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the shot to the elbow. It looked at, you could see Brock put his hands up, and I think he was trying to use the briefcase, and I saw it hit his fingers first, so he freaked out and fuck, that hurt. Nope, not that. And then he tried to cover up, and he got hit in the elbow. And I don't think it was Seth's fault. I think it was Brock's fault for putting himself in a bad position. But at the same time, I saw, I was like, ooh, that's real. And I was kind of scared for Seth Rollins there for a second, But no, I thought you were trying to make it into some, you hurt me, so now, or I hurt you, so now you get, one free lick, kind of thing. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's the deal.
No.
Yeah.
I'm talking about using the chair.
Gotcha.
To get back.
So then we have the Demon Finn Balor come out to face Andrade, and what was basically Finn Balor in a house show. I mean, the best thing about this match was the entrance. it was okay. There were some good spots, but this wasn't a pay-per-view worthy match. This was no reason to bring out the Demon.
I agree.
They brought out the Demon. This is my biggest complaint about this entire pay-per-view. None of these matches are for us.
Exactly.
All of these matches are to make rich people elitists
happy
in Saudi Arabia happy. They're not doing it.
Okay. We're going a little too far with your conspiracy theory.
No, I'm saying that the Shahs and the all the guys out there in the white, you know, they're the ones who are. Vince McMahon's not writing the story cards on this. Vince McMahon's not picking the winners on this. I promise you. I guarantee.
No, I agree. No, I totally agree.
Yeah, we all know that. It's bought out.
But
it's paid.
Can we just explain something real quick? So during this match, during a few matches actually, this is one out of maybe 3 matches that I noticed that the crowd did not even care about this match. There was like no. There was a little.
They don't
little
care
bit of
about
chant
anything except for the names that they've heard of.
Exactly. They did not care about this match. No one cared about them performing in the ring. In the beginning, yes, when he came out as the Demon, but then they were like, oh, okay.
It's because he wasn't facing anybody that they knew.
Yeah.
If they don't know Andrade Cien Almas, they don't care about Andrade Cien Almas. Yes, they know Finn Balor because he has that cool ass makeup on when he comes out as the Demon. Yeah. That's his thing, and I mean that it looks cool. It attracts attention. Andrade Cien Almas doesn't because he's new to most people, to most wrestling fans, not to us because we've watched NXT before and stuff like that. Yeah. But to the average fan, Andrade Cien Almas is new, and they still haven't made up their minds about him, most people. So a Saudi Arabian fan is, you couldn't consider as up to date as the average fan. They're probably further behind than them because most of them are probably just there because
cable. Most of them don't have cable either.
Don't have cable, don't have a way to watch, and most of them are just there because it's there. It's in Saudi Arabia and it's never been there before. So they're like, wow, we have to go to this. I've never seen this. This is a big American thing and it's here in Saudi Arabia. We'll go check it out. So to them, the only thing they're going to respond to are the huge names, the Goldbergs, the Undertakers, the Triple H's and Randy Orton's. Yeah, I mean, they didn't respond to this match. They didn't respond to Kofi's match, really.
Yeah, they really didn't. It was pretty bland.
So, yeah.
That one was kind of like a, wow. They were dead quiet, almost. There's a few fans you could tell here and there.
Yeah,
especially like when Xavier was trying to get the crowd hype and stuff, there would be like, you hear like a couple guys who were like, yeah, New Day, and then like other than that, it was just dead.
Yeah.
I was like, not used to seeing that.
So then we had Roman Reigns versus Shane O'Mac. And there was things that I liked about this, and there was things that I hated. What I hated was Shane McMahon was beating Roman Reigns fairly almost the entire fucking match. He countered a Superman punch. He countered every move Roman Reigns tried to throw at him. Like, I get it. You're Shane McMahon. You can do okay. But when Shane McMahon is winning, it should be for one of two reasons. He's got a lot of help. He had help, but not real. Drew McIntyre didn't really help that much until the end. He kind of stepped in here, but he wasn't. Shane McMahon was beating Roman Reigns. And I
didn't see this match. My internet was still out at this point, but maybe the only thing I can think of is maybe they're really trying to push Shane McMahon as being the best in the world, being a good in-ring competitor. If he was, you know, outclassing Roman Reigns to that degree, maybe it's a build-up for something else.
Well, the thing that came out of it, I don't know if you said you didn't watch it, but you know, Shane McMahon won, and that's the thing that I did agree with. I was like, that's cool.
That.
I was like, that's cool. Because you're not going to get Roman Reigns. Yeah, you're not going to get Roman Reigns over by having him beat Shane McMahon. You're not going to get Roman Reigns over probably no matter what you do. But if you're going to stand a chance, this is the first step.
Yeah. I mean, it worked in the beginning when the Authority was after Roman, and then after they just started putting Roman winning everything, and people just didn't like it anymore because they've been pushing him to their face. But now having Roman lose against people like Shane and supposed Authority and, you know, like people like that, having him win quote-unquote unfairly. But, I mean, I want to see what's going to happen next. Is he going to win next, or are they going to keep pushing Shane and having him win until, you know, they finally come to a point where, like, okay, we should just have Roman win now. But then what's next after Roman? What does he do after
I think
that?
Roman needs to lose a lot of matches to get the fans actually behind him.
Oh, no, I totally agree. I feel like they should keep pushing this Shane thing. Although I really hate the Shane promos about Roman, like we discussed, but I think that if they keep pushing, this, then they could definitely get the fan on boards on Roman's side. Because, you know, as much as we hate it, I'm sure a lot of people hate it too. That's why a lot of people are booing Shane McMahon and shit, because they really hate him at this point. And having him being booed like that, and having Roman coming out and being, you know, cheered on, and everybody cheering for Roman, because I was surprised. I think it was on Raw, or was it Raw or SmackDown, one of those shows, where the fans were just popping for Roman to get in, because he was in that tag team match with the Usos, I believe, and they kept on chanting for Roman, and I'm like, wow, people are like chanting this dude hardcore right now. I'm like, come on, the Usos are fucking in the match right now. Come on, why nobody like the Usos? Chant Usos. But like, I'm always surprised. I'm like, is this real life? I'm like, what's going on? But yeah, it works out.
Yeah.
Next up, we had Lucha House Party versus Lars Sullivan. Why?
Yep.
Why? This was just bad. There was a disqualification, and it was blah blah.
Because they have to keep pushing that. Duh.
What is?
Oh.
It was.
You don't sound too heavy.
I hated
I
this.
agree.
It's fucking stupid.
It wasn't good either, but they had to keep pushing it. Come on, they have to. I don't know when it stops, but I don't know.
35 miles.
I mean, yeah, come on, the 3 blind mice had to get redemption. Come on now. But here's the thing. What's gonna be next for Lars Sullivan? Cause there's so many wrestlers just like Lars Sullivan right now in the company. And they were just I think it was Michael Cole, or maybe it was what's his name there? What's that dude's name there? Fuck. Come on, help me out, guys. I can't remember his name.
What
Guy
was
in commentary.
Where?
What's his name now?
Shah Alabahak said?
No, the guy in
commentary where?
I think Raw, Raw or SmackDown. Or was it
Corey Graves, Tom Phillips,
Corey
Brian
Graves, yeah, Corey Graves. It was either him or Corey Graves that were saying, oh, look at this unstoppable force. Who's gonna beat Lars Sullivan? I'm like, come on now, we have Brock Lesnar, we have Bobby Lashley, we have Roman Reigns, we have Braun Strowman. They act like he's like unstoppable force, but there's like 5 others that's there that can totally beat him in like 5 seconds.
And literally, the only people we've ever seen him standing next to is the women who do the interviews and the Lucha House Party, and he's attacked R-Truth and No Way Jose. They don't even put up. He's not even that big of a guy. Like, they think that we're stupid or something.
Yeah, I know.
They put him up next to little tiny people. We're supposed to be like, oh my god, he's a giant. But we've never seen him next to anyone even remotely close to his size.
Yeah, we definitely haven't.
This is stupid.
We never seen nobody as big as Lars Sullivan. Come on now.
He's not even that big, like, for real.
He's
like,
not. He's the equivalent of, what's his name there? Ryback, maybe? Or equivalent as
he's
Rusev
like,
size?
I was about to say Rusev. He's like a Rusev.
Yeah. Sheep is distracted playing his game over here.
No,
yeah.
That's my keyboard. That's my keyboard. It's not my controller. I'm typing in the chat. Every time I type in the chat, it's my keyboard.
He's playing
Oregon. I know. I hear it.
No, I'm trying to. I'm thinking. Because I'm going on to this next match, Orton versus Triple H, and one of the things that really gets me here is maybe I was watching a different match, but Bleacher Report gives it a B+. And
what, the Lars Sullivan match?
No, it's Triple H versus Randy Orton.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, where did they get it says this was an expertly wrestled match.
What?
Between two old school pro wrestlers. This was terrible.
The first time around.
They laid on the Randy Orton versus Triple H. Oh. They laid down on the mat for half them. They spent most of the time recovering.
I was highly disappointed.
The pedigree in the pedigree counter into an RKO was nearly botched. But it was way too slow and not hit right. The first RKO out of nowhere was bad. The first, it was just really bad. And I get it that they're older guys; they have to go at a slower pace. But no, they don't. They don't have to go at a slower pace. They just have to have a shorter match.
Well, look at the match that Triple H had with Batista. That was a pretty good match. I was surprised. Why didn't they fight like that?
And one of the things that really, really bugged me is that after the kick out from the after something, I can't remember what it was after, but the crowd started chanting, "This is awesome." The first time they start chanting, "This is awesome," on the whole fucking show, we've had Finn Balor, we've had everybody else out there, and the first time we get a reaction out of them is one of the most boring fucking matches I've ever seen in my life. I don't see how this match was a B+. I would call it a C-. It was an average match at best. It was really slow paced, really methodical, and not very entertaining, in my opinion. You can get a lot more out of Randy Orton. I think Randy Orton had to slow his pace down for Triple H.
I think so, but I don't see how, because he put on a pretty good match on Batista as well.
Well, maybe that took a lot out of him. Maybe he just wasn't. I mean,
maybe he wasn't just ready for it.
Now, here's one thing. Well, let's also not discount the fact that it was like 95. It felt like 100 degrees there. It was 95 degrees or something like that. And with the, feels like it was 100 degrees. So I get that that's wearing, and that's probably made it a lot harder. But my opinion is they should have just had a shorter match with bigger spots.
They should have just went all out like Batista and Triple H match, because they have more bad blood with each other than Batista and Triple H actually had. Because the whole history with, the going against Randy Orton and beating shit out of him and shit. That's bad blood. They didn't really have that much bad blood with Batista. Well, Triple H didn't have that much bad blood with Batista. Batista just came back and said, "Oh, give me what I want. Give me what I want." Just like that's all. He just wanted a match with him, and that turned out to be some full-blown fucking crazy-ass match that we didn't even expect to be. And over here we get freaking this lame-ass fucking match with Triple H and RKO, which should have been better.
I agree. So the next match
give
was
us what we want.
No, did not. The next match we got was Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman, and I mean,
fucking another fantastic match.
It was better than the Randy Orton and Triple H match.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And Lashley actually looked pretty good. I was actually impressed with, you know, some of the like feats of strength and the wrestling action from Bobby Lashley. That he did well enough. It's just that it wasn't what I wanted to see if I saw two big, huge, strong guys go at it. You want to see something.
That's true.
You want to see some real crazy shit, you know. Like,
all right. It was impressed that he did do the power bomb, not power bomb. What is it? Running power slam. Running power slam to Braun. Yeah, okay, that was good. But you know, he had a few good spots, and Braun had a few good spots, but it didn't live up to par as it should have. Oh yeah, can we just go back a little bit and recap and talk about how that Randy versus Triple H match was the longest match in the show? Never mind, every other match was like 11, 12, 13 minutes long.
Exactly, it should have been a lot shorter.
Randy and Triple H was like 25 minutes long. It was like, wow.
It should have been much, much shorter. So,
ridiculous.
We had Kofi versus Dolph.
Yep. We already kind of capped on this a little bit.
Yeah.
Where did Soul go?
He's here, right?
Soul?
I'm just listening.
Yeah.
I haven't really had anything to say
nothing
about any of this. I don't think the Triple H or Randy Orton match was as bad as Sheep put it. I wouldn't give it a D or D minus or whatever, whichever it was. I don't think it was the worst.
I gave it a C minus. I didn't give it a D minus. I gave it a C minus.
Yeah, it wasn't a D.
No, C's fair. I mean, I didn't say it's just the worst match ever. I just think it was.
You said it
average.
was one of the worst matches you ever seen in your life.
I said one of the slowest. Not worse.
One of the
well, apparently I wasn't listening well.
No, and that's all you were doing. You had one. You were doing one job, Saul. But yeah.
Well, you know, your accent when you get emotional and you start talking really fast, your accent kicks in, and sometimes your words kind of sound.
I do agree with that.
Hard to understand.
I do agree with that.
Really?
You can get slowest and slow. The words slowest and worst can get mixed up pretty fast when you're emotional and you're rambling.
You're talking pretty fast,
and your accent kicks in. Sometimes you miss a few letters here and then.
Down, slow it down. I saying my shit down 4,000, man. Down my wrestling, down ringing about ding ding, man. Down wrestler, man.
Exactly. That's basically what I heard.
It slips right through his head like, yeah. Like, huh? What?
I'll try to remember to keep it slow and calm from now on.
Yeah, like that match.
Yeah, this goes the match was slow. I don't think the match was that bad. I agree that it should not have been as long as it was. I think that's why you probably feel so strongly about it being bad. It's
not just that, but the performance. It should have been better. We should have got the match that we seen with Triple H and Batista.
I already said I didn't feel like it was bad. Just slow. I felt like it was average to below average.
We got this whole video package of this bad blood between them two and shit like that, and all we get is not even an on par match. We got a below average match.
That's why you gotta watch.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You gotta watch the way Soul watches.
Where was
your expectations up too high? Don't
where
let the video
was
packages fool
where was
you.
the emotion? Where was all this bad blood? Where was all of this?
Exactly.
It's
That's
in
what
the
I'm
past.
saying.
That's where it's at. That's what a video package is.
Most wrestling that is great and amazing, they tell the story
The
in the
whole
ring.
reason
They did
started
not tell
fighting
a story in the
They
ring.
brought it up. They brought it up in multiple times. Like, oh, we're going back to, this is the last match they had, and it didn't
The
have
closest they came to telling a story
bringing it
in the
back
ring
up.
was that Randy Orton's arm hurt.
He's like, oh man, my fucking arm hurts.
At one point, he was like, my arm. I was like, what? I was kind of wondering if his arm was really hurt when he did that, because I'm like, you're not supposed to, like, say that. I've never heard a wrestler go, oh, my arm. But he did, and I was like, I think he might be really hurt.
Hey, Randy Orton's famous for his little slip-ups and whatnot.
And he could have redeemed this entire match if he would have did the Twitch thing when he did the DDT off the middle rope. He could have won me over just boom.
What the point I was trying to make is they show these video packages and they show you highlights from these wrestlers' peak performances of their careers. You fail to remember that in these video
I don't expect them to live up to those standards. I just expect them to live up to some standards.
Packages, okay? He still had hair.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're bringing it up for a reason too. It's just like, you know,
to make you excited to go watch it. Once you're watching it, it don't matter what they do. They done got you.
True.
You know,
that's true. He's very true.
That bait looks real good on that hook.
They clickbaited us.
Once that fish bites it, there ain't no turning back.
They clickbaited us.
All the video packages are clickbait.
It's clickbait. Fucking WWE. Goddamn it! They spend more money researching their commercials than they do their matches. The creative is spending all their times doing that. They don't give a fuck. We figured out the riddle.
Right.
Creative is writing video packages. They're not writing storylines. They're just being like, just go out there and fucking wing it. We'll throw up a video package of what you did 2 years ago. Just go out there and fucking do it. Just do some flips or something. I don't know.
Hey, what's my
you guys just work it out in the ring. Work it out in the ring. Yeah, you're supposed to win. You guys figure it out. We don't give a shit.
The video package will cover y'all. Don't worry about it.
I gotta say, at least I was very happy that Randy Orton got this victory.
I was too. I think that's the only thing I was happy about.
I was 120,000% sure that Triple H was winning this, and that actually surprised me. It gave me more respect for Triple H because I felt like he was just never gonna lose a match again in his entire life. No, I was shocked and glad
he did what's best for business.
So,
he got control over that one match.
50-man battle royal.
That's what the outcome was good.
50-man battle royal. This was very good.
This is the one thing I was actually excited for watching the show in the first place. Like, I didn't really care for any of the matches, to be honest. Like, I didn't get my hopes up because of the fact that it's the Super Showdown in Saudi Arabia. I already know what it's all about. It's political. It's paid for. Yada yada, the whole nine. Okay, I'm not expecting great matches, so
not the whole 10.
Whatever. The only thing I was really genuinely looking forward to was this battle royal, and it was terrible.
There were
from the start.
A couple of decent spots.
It started off with EC3. EC3 got eliminated first. That just blew it for me right from the beginning. Why is this guy getting buried so hard? Why did he even get called up? He got called up literally just to get buried.
Oh, where was Aleister Black?
He's getting buried because he didn't make Dean Ambrose look bad enough.
True.
I mean, he can still be in NXT.
What happened to Aleister Black? What he's doing?
Why don't you guys invite Ben to the party?
He had already announced beforehand that he wasn't gonna.
It don't matter.
And going to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, well, he's not gonna be doing anything for a while.
Not until somebody knocks on his door.
Anybody catch that about that invite?
Nope.
Somebody invite Ben. He needs an invite. I don't want to go blue screen on these guys. So the worst part of this entire battle royal, in my opinion, and I talked about it with Street earlier, and I get why they did it. I completely understand. It's fucking a sellout move. Mansoor should not have won that. Nobody except for the people in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
like he's been on TV once.
I was like, oh, he's gonna win. You guys watch NXT?
Yeah,
he's on NXT supposedly.
He's had a match or two on NXT. One that I can remember for sure.
Yeah, and it was
subpar
100% just to make like what Chase just said. Ali should have won.
And he
I didn't want Ali to win until I realized Mansoor was gonna win. I was like, fuck, give me Ali. No, anybody, give me fucking No Way Jose before you give me some guy to placate the people that are there. It was so obvious that this is just a complete sell. What was the point of watching any of this when everything was just to please some people who paid for it? I guarantee you, not one of those matches.
The point was
to make money.
You didn't have to watch it.
This is their point. It's because they're TV and they're not making enough money. They posted their quarterly earnings for the first quarter earlier this month or last month, and they had lost money. They didn't make money. They didn't profit. They haven't been losing money. They'd actually been doing really well. But this quarter they weren't doing well. But I guarantee you next quarter all that goes out the fucking window because they just made a lot of fucking money. They just made back every problem that they had twice over.
That Saudi Arabia
money is worth that. One pay-per-view is probably worth more money than
all their pay-per-views.
Not all of them together, but probably 2 WrestleManias put together or more. It's Saudi Arabia booked the show for real.
Let me just explain what really pissed me off about this entire pay-per-view. What really pissed me off is that they were pushing that the fact, quote-unquote fact, that this was going to be a WrestleMania equivalent. I'm like, what? Dude, this is supposed to be a WrestleMania.
This is a fucking house show. This is a house show in a big stadium because they never get to see shit like this.
I was like, what? WrestleMania equivalent? Am I watching the wrong show? What is this? I was like, what? Oh, what? Okay. I'm watching the wrong show, guys.
Yeah, if it was a WrestleMania equivalent, then where's Triple H's exorbitant entrance?
Oh, wait, no. They did have a Triple H. They did cap on that. Michael Cole was like, this is a WrestleMania equivalent show when Triple H has a something entrance like that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Just because he has this kind of entrance, that's his it makes it WrestleMania.
But it wasn't as big or as big of a spectacle as his WrestleMania one.
It came out big on a big ass fucking motorcycle. That was the only thing big about it.
Yeah,
big ass motorcycle.
Usually there's like fucking Terminators or fucking soldiers or whole rows of fucking crazy shit, and just all this other crazy stuff going on. And this time he just comes out on a motorcycle. So is fucking Undertaker.
Go back and watch that entrance and listen to what Michael Cole says.
This is just bad. And then it got really bad.
Go bathroom.
After that 50-man battle royal, we got to Goldberg and Undertaker. Or as I'm calling it, GoldTurd and BlunderTaker. Because this was a dumpster fire. It actually started off not half bad until Goldberg hit his head on the ring post. After everything after that, I think like he really got fucked up, and that from that moment on they should have threw up the fucking X's. They shouldn't have let it go any further past that point. From when he came out and he stumbled down, I could tell that he wasn't faking that first fall in the corner. And that fucking tombstone and that jackhammer, man, that was some of the worst, that was some of the scariest thing I've ever seen. Like, I thought Ronda Rousey's first suplexes and shit were bad, but no. I thought somebody broke a neck. I thought somebody was seriously injured at some point, and
yeah, I did too.
I wouldn't doubt it if somebody is, and they're just hiding that fact to save face. Like, I wouldn't doubt it if somebody had broken a neck or, you know, done some irreversible or permanent damage in that match. That was painful to watch. I'm usually not actually scared for the people I'm watching on WWE. Like, I'm not that worried about people in the UFC. But I was really scared for these guys. This was not cool. And after the match, you could clearly see the disgust on Undertaker's face. You knew he wasn't happy with it.
Yeah, it like zoomed in on his face too, and he was just like, he looked so disappointed. He looked miserable.
It was not a good look, and it was really a bad way to see the Undertaker, to me. Like, I lost, not respect for him, I lost more respect for WWE than anything. But it was like one of those moments where, like, one of your heroes is not really able to be the person that they were. Like when you see like a strong family member that you've known, your whole life, in a hospital bed and dying or something like that. It's to see somebody go from such heights and such legendary status to just
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to get to next, Chase. After the match, supposedly Undertaker was pissed at Goldberg. I'm not quite sure on the details of it, but they say that he was pretty hot, and that the match didn't go the way it was supposed to. And I don't know who you could blame in the situation, though, because Goldberg clearly incapacitated himself pretty early on and probably shouldn't have continued past that point, and should have let Undertaker know, hey, we need to finish this now, or something like that. But I don't know what to make of this. I mean, it was just so bad. What do you guys have to say that you haven't said already?
That's just me, but I pretty much summed up how I felt about it earlier. I mean, there's a lot of botches. I was nervous that somebody legitimately was gonna get hurt, and I think that when we say this, we've been saying this for a while, this should really be Taker's last match, man. I mean, he's gonna just end up hurting himself.
No, he can't end on that kind of note. I don't know about that. You think he would leave on that kind of note? I don't think he would want to.
I mean, it's a win, so...
Yeah, but it's not good.
So Matt Riddle called Goldberg unsafe, dangerous, and a liability. So he's placing the blame on Goldberg, but...
What are they placing this blame on, though? Like, What part of it?
Why is it specifically Goldberg's fault?
Well, in my opinion, I would say because he continued. I would say he continued past that point, and he probably shouldn't have. He didn't have. But past that point, you know, it's entirely feasibly possible that he might have been able to hit that jackhammer if, you know, he hadn't just went through a botched tombstone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's entirely possible. So him not being able to hit that jackhammer properly could have had something to do with him getting a botched move of his own. And it could also be from him running his own head into the ring post. I don't know. So, whichever one it is, I think they're both to blame, and I think WWE is to blame for continuing to book matches like this when we've seen the past 3 or 4 times that Undertaker has gotten in the ring. It hasn't been memorable. It hasn't been epic. It's been sad. And I don't want my last memories of The Undertaker to be this bullshit. It's like watching, you know, a farewell tour for like a band or something, and they're all on death's bed.
I'm still here.
We thought you quit, Ben.
Well, let's just say my internet is like a little bit it's okay. Let's just say
John Moxley and popping
my
up at the
internet
very
has been so stupid recently. I'm sorry, my internet's fucked up at the moment. So yeah.
Yeah, let's also bring up that interview that he did.
Yeah.
Way back in like 2003 or something like that.
Who did?
Which one
Taker did. Taker did.
Oh.
About he doesn't want to be that guy in the ring that can't keep up with, you know, the wrestlers
like the
of
young
today.
people.
And well, look at you now. Oh, how the, you know, tides turn when a little bit of money is shoved in your face. And I would never accuse Undertaker of doing something for the money. I don't think that it is a lot of money.
Well, if he was saying in an interview what he wanted to be true, he obviously is not keeping. He obviously didn't keep up with that. So it has to be about the money at this point.
Yep.
Because if he was really stayed true to that quote that he made, then he would have stayed true to that. But he
there goes Ben. Oh, God damn my fucking internet. Stuffing internet, stuff it. So, in some other news, there are rumors abound that Renee Young and Natalya could both be facing some punishment on air. Now, we're not talking being fired. Basically, I'm talking about being revivaled. Put through storyline angles that are only there to hurt their character and to make them look bad. To make them look bad in the eyes of the fans. And there are some rumors that right now WWE does not know what they're going to do with Renee Young. And that's the biggest one because of John Moxley. She's married to John Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose, and she's still, as far as we can tell and as far as I've seen, been pretty extremely loyal to the WWE and hasn't, you know, done anything out of line, hasn't tweeted anything crazy. The only thing that I saw that she did was she posted a picture of John Moxley winning the IWGP belt on her Instagram.
U.S. belt, by the way.
Yeah, IWGP U.S. belt. And I don't see a problem with that. I can see how WWE might, but that's her husband. They can't say you can't post anything of your husband on your own account. But it did say Renee Young WWE. Well, that's the tag.
They
wanted everybody's passwords at one point too.
Well, that's
I think
that's one of those things that Ryback has said, and I take everything Ryback says with a grain of salt.
How do we always
think so?
How do we always
every podcast? Everyone. It's usually Ben.
How?
Because
How does this happen?
He's always talking shit about WWE.
And he's talking shit about WWE all
But we
the time.
don't bring up Jericho in every podcast.
No, because I believe
We bring up
because
Ryback.
I guess because he brings up a lot of solid points that seems very solid and to be true.
I don't know.
And,
here's the thing about him. He's the only one saying these things. There are other WWE... hold on, wait. There are other former WWE superstars who do not do this, who do talk bad about WWE, but they've never said any of this shit. And if they wanted to, they have no reason not to. I think Ryback is maybe taking some small truths and making them much larger. He's exaggerating in a lot of cases, and I think the biggest thing Ryback is doing is trying to get some attention. Feed him more. He needs some more. Feed me more.
Well, listen. Moxley did touch on some of the bases that he brought up as well in previous podcasts, like he was talking about on his podcast. Moxley did touch base on a lot of major stuff that Ryback made and bring up. So, if you have a backing of Moxley that, touches on that base and, makes it official. I hear what I see about this. It may not be true. There's multiple cases on why, he could be saying this. The only one saying this, like you said, is I think it's because a lot of superstars that end up quitting or leaving are not as big as him. For one, the only other person I could really see is CM Punk. He said already his fair share of things, and he's done saying his fair share of things. He said what he had to say. I mean, he's not going to go on like Ryback did. Everyone's different, obviously, but you got to realize it that way of how big that person is. And Ryback was pretty big. He wasn't crazy big.
Mid-Carter at best. He was about as big as Rusev's gotten.
Yeah, but a lot of people knew him because of his line, and that's how he's really well known. Is because of that line. And I think the reason why that others are not bringing things up is because they weren't that big and no one's really listening. No one's out there taking these guys' word because they were either low mid-carders or jobbers in the company.
No, plenty of jobbers go out there and say all kinds of disparity. I just see a discrepancy between the things Ryback says and the things that every other unhappy wrestler says. They're not all echoing Ryback. Ryback is echoing them and then adding on a whole bunch of other shit. It's like he's doing it for attention. He's doing it for people to he's starting rumors. He's just starting. I guarantee you, I would bet money on it that maybe there are some truth in what he's saying, but most of them are probably highly exaggerated. I just don't trust a word that comes out of his mouth.
I
don't know why.
How did we get deeper into talking about Ryback? Now we're personally talking about Ryback himself. Why?
It's good stuff. Quality content.
Exactly.
Okay.
Quality content.
I get it. Talk about. It's relatable. Especially with everything else going on right now.
Yeah.
Pretty relatable. There's some things you can't deny because you can kind of see it. You can see it's clear as day of some of the things that's going on, especially with the whole Moxley thing. Now you're like, oh, okay, maybe this is true. It's relatable. Relatable subject.
Oh, and apparently John Moxley told Vince McMahon he was just going to Hollywood to make a movie. But he was actually going to sign with AEW.
Was that whole movie thing fake then? That whole fucking cage fight, what was it called?
No, it turns out he was leaving to make a movie and sign with AEW.
Oh, okay. Makes sense now.
I really wonder what's going to happen with Renee. Is she gonna just straight up, you know, let her contract run out and see you later?
It's just one day we're gonna notice she's not there.
Have you guys seen Renee Young in a couple weeks? What's going on?
She's gonna be dropped. Like, it'll just be done. Like, no one will ever mention her, not even announcers or anything like that. And the commentary won't even bring
That's sad too, because a lot of people don't, but I do like Renee Young. I like. She's not the best commentator in the world, but it's a change of pace. It's different. It's not the same old 3 or 4 guys that, you know, one's a bad guy, one's a good guy, one's a goofy idiot.
Ooh,
yeah.
ouch.
You know,
wow.
it's actually almost like having the opinion of somebody who doesn't really know much about wrestling. It's like having an average person there to give their opinion. And that's kind of cool. It's like, I think everything should. I don't think she knows. She never names a move. She never, calls out a thing like that.
Mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does.
That's fine. It's endearing to me. It tells. It's a characterization of her, version of her as a commentator, and that's perfectly fine for me. It's almost like if you had at UFC fights, you just had a regular guy out there, every time it's like a big hit, he's like, oh shit, or he got, some crazy. I like Renee.
Is the WWE serious with their new Lacey Evans T-shirt?
What does it say?
It's so awful. It has Lacey Evans, with the she can do it or whatever. The character they have.
Do I even want to know?
An animated woman like with her.
Put it in Discord.
Her fist. But do you know what I'm talking about?
The war picture, like the whatchamacallit, the Rosie the Riveter. Talking about the Rosie the Riveter.
I think so, yeah. Well, it's Lacey Evans doing that gesture, and it says she can do it, you nasties.
You nasties.
It's like the worst t-shirt I've ever seen them make. Here, I'm about to post it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
GG. Oh.
wait.
I thought it was like the actual Rosie the Riveter, but it's her doing the pose like it's her.
Yeah.
And they just put it on a yellow background. They didn't even put it on the classic.
Yeah, it looks like just so poorly made.
Yeah.
Like they put no effort.
They've been doing that lately with shirts. You haven't noticed?
Yeah, a lot of the t-shirts have been shitty lately.
Who did they switch over to for graphics? Shit.
I mean, if they were going to copy it, they should have at least copied it right. Like, that's the logo. Like, all they had to do was do it just like that, and it would have been better. Have her wear the stupid fucking polka dot thing on her head and wear a whole yellow thing, or, not yellow thing, but the blue suit. Because you don't look like a woman going to work in the picture, so it's not very... The only thing you're doing is the fucking pose.
Yeah, it's not relatable to her character in my eyes at all.
Nope.
They have some good ones, though, some good shirts. So if you look at the newest ones, they have some good ones, but it's like...
What's a good one?
There's a few good ones. This Undisputed Era one, and the Velveteen Dream one.
Oh,
and
I just haven't scrolled that far down.
And the Johnny Gargano one. The New Day one. They look pretty good.
I haven't seen any of those yet.
But other than that, it's like some of them are just bad that they've been coming out with.
Oh, okay. This in New Japan pay-per-view that's probably just started. It's got a Chris Jericho match.
Yeah, it does.
Wonder if Moxley will pop up.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Didn't he have a match not long ago? Before, not the title match, but after. Pretty sure he had another match after. In some other. Maybe it was like a house show or something.
Perhaps. But yeah, I pretty much ran through all the news that I had. If anybody else got anything? Any interesting tidbits, topics, nuggets?
What? Anything big? Oh yeah, Moxley does have a match. He's fighting Shaka Umino or something. I don't know his name. I'll say his name. Botched it completely. But he does have...
Do the Young Bucks have a match?
Let me see... No, Gorilla Dynasty does though.
Okay, I don't know who it is.
Yeah, me neither.
Will Ospreay has a match.
You said that like you insinuated that I knew who they were.
Do you follow them, Street? The Gorilla,
I
whoever?
know who they are. I've seen a couple of their matches.
You inferred that I was going to be excited.
You know who they are?
A lot of people
when you
want.
told me
A lot of people
news.
want them to fight the Usos.
The
A lot of
Gorilla
people
Dynasty?
want them. A lot of people, meaning the people in New Japan Pro Wrestling, the fans there.
A lot. Alright, seems like as good a place as any to end this podcast. Soul made it through a whole podcast, y'all. A whole podcast. It's like the first time in 3 months.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you guys stopping
Dynasty. Is that the guys that were a part of the Bullet Club at one point? I think I know.
Were they part of the Bullet Club at one point?
I know who you're talking about.
Alright.
GG.
Yeah, so I might try to watch this New Japan thing if I can ever get it to.
That's
tomorrow.
Tama Tonga and Tonga Low.
Yeah.
Whatever.
This would be my first New Japan thing that I've watched. Never really
I want to watch
tried.
it too, but I gotta go to bed.
Yeah.
5-time tag team champion.
Alright, thanks for tuning into the podcast. Check us out next week, same time. Peace.